Sure. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Deputy Supervisor Villanova.
Heavenly Father, bless this assemblage. Grant us the wisdom to make our every decision fair-minded and in its best interest for all residents.
Okay. So we're going to start off with the public hearing on the Code of Ethics. Can I get a motion to reopen
To open it.
Open.
Motion to open.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Guilford.
Aye.
Mendocino.
Aye.
Myers.
Aye.
Villanova.
Yes.
Corbin.
Yes, this is on the Code of Ethics. Any questions, comments from the public?
Yeah.
Please. Gold, do you want to come up for that, please? This is on the Code of Ethics now.
Yeah.
Goldie.
Please inform us as to who the Code of Ethics is meant for. Is it meant for government? Is it meant for you people? Is it meant for other commissions or boards? We'd like to know the whole thing on the Code of Ethics as to who it represents. Can you do that now?
Yes.
Before you vote on it?
Well, it applies to all officers and employees of the town of Rock.
Officers, meaning the government?
Yeah, officers and employees of the town. Not just elected officials, but appointed
Okay,
officials.
that's what you have to put in there. Not officers and... You have to put elected officials and then employees or officers.
They are
of the-
officers. They are
Well,
officers.
there are police officers. There are all kinds of officers. They are not just officers. They represent us. They live off us. So they have to be elected officials because they are elected. Police officers are not elected. They're appointed. And so are firemen, and so are public works, and so are anything else. But people that are elected have to be elected officials if that Code of Ethics applies to them.
Okay, if you look at page 2, municipal officer or employee means a paid or unpaid officer.
I don't have a page 2.
Oh, okay. A paid or unpaid officer or employee of the town of Rye, including but not limited to the members of any municipal board. So that would apply to the town board.
Okay, but you should have elected officials
Okay.
because they're all elected. So I would change that to elected officials.
Okay.
This is the first notice I've gotten on this, so I don't know if there's anything else that has to be applied to. But what is the Code of Ethics? What is it?
It's a code that regulates the conduct of all of the officers and employees
Well, that's what
of
I'd
the
like
town
to
of
know.
Rye.
What you have in the code that pertains to elected officials.
Well, it applies to everybody, so there's provisions.
Well, I know, but elected officials are at the top. They live off us.
Okay.
And they represent us.
All right,
And
well-
therefore, I have to know what the code is there. And so does the people of Dorchester.
Right, the code has policy on prohibiting the use of their municipal position for personal or private gain. It requires the disclosure of interest in legislation or other matters. It requires recusal and abstention when there's a conflict of interest. It prohibits any investments in conflict with official duties. It prohibits private employment that would be in conflict with their official duties. It also restricts future employment, which is unusual here. For a 6-month period, an official cannot take on a private position with any matter over which they had any discretion pending while they were on the board. They cannot use municipal resources for personal use. They must disclose any interest in any potential contract. There is a no nepotism policy, which is, I think, important. It also prohibits political solicitations from any employee or from anyone or anything related to their work. It also limits the acceptance of gifts, and it sets a threshold of $150. It also establishes a Board of Ethics, which will be appointed by the board, which will consist of 5 members, and they would adjudicate any questions about ethical conduct that come under question.
Okay, when you've got elected officials up on the ballot, people don't know when they come in to vote exactly what this is all about and what they have to do and what they don't have to do. All they know is that they represent the people. If there's conflict of interest, we won't know about it. We will not know about it. Okay? people do not, all the people, taxpayers in Portchester
Mike.
or Rybrook or whatever it is, do not.
No, the mic. They can't. It's going to be on TV.
Oh, I yell loud enough. I don't think we need a mic. But,
Here, here.
Don't yell loud enough, Goldie. I think you need to yell louder.
no, I can't yell louder. But you have to understand that there's conflict of interest. We aren't going to know about it. When they're elected officials, they come around, they say whatever they want to get it elected, and they promise everything, not telling everybody they're only one vote and can't do it. One vote. And that's elected officials. Okay? But they're supposed to represent the people. They don't, obviously, because our taxes are killing us. Our taxes are killing us. But you've got a code of ethics here that most people will not know about and not have. And with elected officials, they're definitely not going to know.
Any other comments from the public? Mr. Abel.
Good evening, Richard Abel, Quintar Drive in Portchester. A question for you. I was just sitting through the previous meeting, or part of the previous meeting, and I was wondering if this code of ethics also pertains to the commission, the Rytown Park Commission.
It does not.
Okay.
They are not, other than the supervisor, it does not, because it only applies to municipal officers, employees of the town. Rytown Park Commissioners are not. In fact, they are usually municipal officers of another municipality, which I'm sure they all have their own code of ethics.
Okay, but
The answer is no, it does not
since
apply.
they do get together, so I would recommend to the supervisor that he ask the commission to pass their own code of ethics, because their code would be for their municipalities, not for the commission itself.
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Also, my other question,
That's a
I
good
get...
idea. Mr. Noto, would you?
Well, I don't get a vote on that. You guys.
No, but
the commission has to direct me to do that, and I'll be happy. If, they'll have to tell me what they would like in it, because I'm not sure.
Right.
There's, I don't see how the Rytown Park Commission would establish a board of ethics just for the Park Commission. It's an intermunicipal agency, so I think the jurisdictional issues are going to be very complicated, because I don't see how you would have anybody that would have any jurisdiction over a commission of which all of them are members of other communities.
Well, let's think about it.
Okay. And the other thing is, I gather that, as written, the only persons who can bring a challenge to the ethics board would be either an employee or an elected official.
Yes.
Okay, nobody from outside.
Correct. You had raised that early on, and I looked at a lot of code of ethics, and I could not find any that permitted a non-employee or officer to bring a complaint. Not to say somebody couldn't ask a board member to file a complaint, but yes, the answer to that is correct. Yeah.
Okay. And is this code of ethics going to be part of the employee handbook when you hire a new employee?
Yes. It has to be posted publicly, conspicuously in each building, and every employee will receive a copy of it.
Okay.
Well, I think.
And future employees?
Well, I think that.
Existing and future.
When this is adopted, every employee needs to get a copy of this, not just being hired in the future.
Oh, yes,
This
currently
this applies immediately.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my last question was is it written so that this code, that like I know in Rybrook, people, elected officials and people with questions about whether they should vote on something, they bring the issue to the code of to the members of the code of the ethics board to have them make a determination as to whether they could vote on something. For example, let's say I own stock in Sprint, and Sprint wants to be wants to build a cell tower. Should I be able to vote on that? And that was actually, I think, one of the issues that came up in Rybrook, and that the ethics board makes a determination. So is it a determining body as well?
Yes. Well, they can render advisory opinions.
Okay.
But they don't have any power to prohibit you from doing anything.
Well, they
can
have
only
no
advise.
They have no power at all anyway.
They have no power to penalize,
Yes.
but we assume the moral force of their decision would be sufficient.
Okay.
And
the
he's been on vacation. He's on top of his game tonight.
And the appointment of the 5-member panel board is by this board,
By
correct?
the town board, right.
Okay. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I gather there has been a code of ethics, but it was from like 19...
There was. I think it was in the 70s.
Yeah, okay. And so this is a much better, and I like the idea of a nepotism rule, and I think it's a good step in the right direction. It could always be better.
Are you for or against nepotism? I wasn't sure.
No, I'm not for it. There's too much of it around. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Right.
Thank you. Other comments from the public? Okay. Well, first I want to thank Mr. Newers, who I understand really put a lot of hard work into pulling this together.
Some help from Paul.
With some help from our town attorney. Saying that, well, he was next. You're looking way too tan, Mr. Noto. I'm having difficulty. But thank you, Mr. Newers. Thank you, Town Attorney Noto, for pulling this together. Can I, if there's no further comments from the public, can I get a motion to approve the ethics?
Close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
Second. Gelfard?
Aye.
Mendocino? Aye. Ioris?
Aye.
Villanova?
Yes.
Carver?
Yes. Now, can we vote on the ethics law?
Yep.
No? Okay. Can I get a motion then to approve the ethics law?
Local law number 1, 2011.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Gelfard?
Aye.
Mendocino? Aye. Ioris?
Aye.
Villanova?
Yes.
Carver?
Yes. Okay. Now I'd like to open our second public hearing of the night on our Crawford Park Policy. Can I get a motion to open the meeting, public hearing for Crawford Park Policy?
So moved.
Second?
Second. Gelfard?
Aye.
Mendocino? Aye. Ioris?
Aye.
Villanova?
Yes.
Carver?
Yes. Can I, comments from the public? Comments from the public? Comments? Sorry, Goldie. Goldie, it's my birthday tonight, so I'm having a little fun.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you.
Valentine's Day.
It's, Goldie, it's President's Week, so I don't know if that has any implications. Or
Well, I just
significance.
showed Lincoln's assassination
Oh, geez.
on the History Channel at Portchester Senior Center. So I'm a historian, and we
know.
had to show it. It's also Black History Month,
Okay.
so it was very good. Okay, the other thing about Crawford Park is, Crawford Park to me is the same feelings as I have for Oakland Beach. But nothing much is ever said about that. When you say Rye-Town Park, you're talking about Oakland Beach. You're not talking about Crawford Park. And that's no good. Crawford Park has to be upgraded. Upgraded. We need lots of concerts at Crawford Park and a lot more things for people to come there. At Oakland Beach, we have the water, and we have concerts every Tuesday night, I think it is, or Wednesday night down there, and that's great. But from Portchester, it takes a long time to get down there. There's also big fees. In Crawford Park, we need a lot of things going, not just for the children, but for the adults, so that we can have Crawford Park on an equal basis with Oakland Beach. So Rye-Town Park is not just Oakland Beach, it's also Crawford Park.
Well, it's a wonderful suggestion, actually.
And we have to do that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Goldie. That's actually a fantastic suggestion. Mr. Nowotnik, let's make certain that we have at least one or two concerts this summer at Crawford Park. I think is a fantastic suggestion.
Well, we need a lot of things going on there.
Yep.
Try and have some tag sales, try to have other things. They've got lots going on at Oakland Beach.
Right.
But they don't have it at Crawford Park. And Crawford Park represents Rye Brook, which is right there, and Portchester.
Yep.
Oakland Beach represents Rye, Mamaroneck, Harrison. Come on. It takes us a while to get down there to go to that. So we need more upgrading.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Goldie. Other comments from the public? Please.
Hello, my name is Frank Arrigo. I live in 85 Birch Street, Portchester, New York.
Can't hear you.
My name is Frank Arrigo. I live at 85 Birch Street, Portchester, New York. I came to the last two meetings. I'm under the impression that the Recreation Department in Portchester and Rye Brook will not be charged to use the facilities. But yet, a phone call was made asking for Portchester how would they feel about being charged. I was curious why that phone call was being made.
Well, okay, that's an excellent question. I'm glad you made that. We don't know if they're going to be charged or not. That's one of the things under consideration tonight. What I'm going to suggest to the board, I'm happy to anticipate, is that the liaisons from the board to the different villages sit down and go through all the different usages of the park, the wear and tear on the park, the intermunicipal relations, and sit down and try and agree a policy with the village mayor of Rye Brook, the village mayor of Portchester, and agree a policy that makes sense for them and us, and that's consistent. The only thing we're trying to do with this whole effort is to make sure that, we're not the only municipality in the whole of the town of Rye that doesn't charge for any of its services. So what we're looking at is synchronicity. We're looking for simply looking to basically a level of consistency that hasn't been in the park before. Now, so we won't be, at least my recommendation to the board may have a different view, is that we identify our liaison to the Village of Rye Brook, who would sit down with the Village of Rye Brook and talk about the different uses of the park from Rye Brook people and how Rye Brook charges and does or doesn't pay for the use of Crawford Park here, and find a solution that makes sense. Similarly, do we have a liaison to the Village of Portchester? I don't think we do.
I don't think it was ever established.
So I'm going to see if we can identify a liaison to the Village of Portchester and ask that liaison to undertake that same conversation with the Village of Portchester. And the third segment of the community that's going to be impacted is the not-for-profits. We have a whole user sheet here, a whole range of users of Crawford Park, some 20, 25 users ranging from the Council of the Arts to the Portchester Department of Recreation, Rye Town Youth Football, Soccer, Volunteer Fire, Chamber of Commerce, Cub Scouts, Handicap, Scene Stealers, Village Singers, Friends, Old Timers, Weight Watchers, and so forth and so on. So what I'm going to ask is a third member from the board sit down and liaise with the not-for-profit groups. And again, come up with a policy that's consistent with the other municipalities across the town of Rye, and do that. So I don't know why that phone call went out. It makes sense that we would have a conversation with them. It doesn't seem to me that there's anything wrong with making the phone call. And I'm very confident we're going to be able to work together with our good friends in the Village of Portchester, our good friends in the Village of Rye Brook, and our good friends at the various not-for-profits, and come up with something that everybody finds agreeable.
Okay. May I also make one other comment?
Please.
Is it all possible, I don't know if the other two municipalities would agree on it, but Mr. Noto and the two lawyers from their representative to go over that will, because me reading it, it was left for recreational usage and that kind of stuff, and not to make a profit. So maybe
I'll save you the trouble. I did a memo because we got a letter from the Portchester Rec Commission. So the supervisor asked me to wrote. So I did a memo, and I attached the will and the deed, and you're welcome to a copy. There is no prohibition against charging for use of the park. Clearly, it has to be for a public purpose. It has to be for recreation. But there is no mention in there of anything about charging or not charging. So if the town decided to charge a fee, which is obviously related to maintenance of the park because of the usage, legally I'm confident they could do so. But, I'm available to meet with anybody anytime. So,
no, but is it all
I've done a
possible?
memo on it. I have the deed. I have the thing. But
You also, too, is the lawyers, the older gentleman passed away, but the lawyer that was involved in the original wills and stuff like that would meet with you, too?
oh, I don't know. I mean, there's a trustee, and I don't know what the status is of that. We found a letter from '92 from Monroe Mann to the trustee, I think, related to weddings in the mansion. Now, obviously, I guess they wrote back and said it was okay because we've been having weddings in the mansion since.
Well, let's say everything is interpretation.
Right. But look, the clear language of the will and the deed is that there is no prohibition against charging.
I think Mr. Reed.
But it does have to be for a public purpose and primarily recreation.
But Mr. Reed,
you
used the word profit. We're not looking to make a profit. We're looking to charge to maintain the facilities.
I understand that, Mr. Carter. Right now, if I went up and called Mr. Nowotnik and I wanted for a Portchester recreational event, sometime maybe in June or stuff like that. That building and that grounds have already been booked. You have a policy that you go so far out that it does not allow the Portchester and Rybrook Recreation Departments to even get into the facility. You're blocking them out. And with that, you went out in a wedding. If I wanted to go to a wedding right now, I'm going to go to you today, and I want it for July of 2012. I booked a date. Now, the recreations don't go out that far in advance to book programs. Now, if the community comes up and they want a certain program, they'll run on a Saturday or Sundays, and those dates are booked with weddings. You're making a profit over the municipalities. That's what I'm. Your booking policies are so far in advance that the recreation departments for the two communities do not have a chance. I started up there. They only went 3 months in advance out to every single group, January to March. January ended, they went to April. And they called up the two recreation departments first and gave them first rights of refusal on dates. Everything's changed in the past, but you're setting a new policy that I would like you to see, if it's possible to look at. Because it is for recreational usage, and it seems like the recreational usages are getting bigger because nobody has the financial ability to get out and do things. And you can't get to them because they're booking weddings, bar mitzvahs, graduations that block out the whole community's chance to use the place.
Well,
That's my personal thought.
Well, first of all, thank you for your comment, and certainly, it asks the liaisons as they meet with the individual communities at the Portchester Recreation Community, the Rybrook Recreation people, to take that into consideration.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Please, Mayor Feinstein.
Thank you so much. Joan Feinstein, 6 Robbins Roost, Rybrook. And I'm here this evening as the mayor of Rybrook. And thank you, Supervisor Carvin, and hello to the council people this evening. And once again, happy birthday, Joe.
Thank you.
I thank you for clarifying the fact that Councilman Gelfarb is the liaison to Rybrook, right, David?
Aye.
We're going, yes, and we will sit down together, and we will bring David up to speed as far as the activities and the recreational programs that take place in Crawford Park, which is a lovely park that's owned by the town of Rybrook. And once again, when we sit down, I just want to make sure that each of the council or the council persons have received my December 8th letter that was written to all council members explaining some of the concerns that we have if there are charges imposed for the recreational use. But we also, at least I highlighted in that letter, the fact that there is also cooperation as far as maintenance of the park as well. And I think that our town employees and the Village of Rybrook employees have worked very cooperatively to, in fact, keep the cost to the town at a lesser amount and have assisted without any sort of charge. So that when we discuss the use by our municipality, it should also take into account the services that Rybrook has provided without any additional cost, because I think that is part and parcel. I would hate to think that a cost would be imposed for services or for use of the park to Rybrook recreational programs. I'm thinking we have many programs in Rybrook that take place at the park. But at the same time, we've worked together to reduce your maintenance costs as well. And I think that is a topic that we should continue to discuss when we meet together. David?
Yes.
So I just want to clarify the fact that these issues are not just recreational an issue, but they transcend other issues relating to Crawford Park. But I look forward to working with you on this. And, of course, we're concerned about, as we head into our budget season, any sort of adverse implications. So we will sit down sooner rather than later.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Mayor Feinstein. I think That's absolutely correct.
I actually think that this is a much larger issue, and I think it's a great issue, because as we look at Crawford Park, we should be talking more about shared services.
In fact, actually,
And I think this really morphs into it, and that's why I really wanted to stand up this evening. Obviously, I have concerns about any sort of costs that are imposed for our day camp, our programs, and the like, but we really need more shared services. I mean, that is something that we must discuss.